Good morning, boys and girls. For our history lesson today, we are going to continue learning about the Vikings. So we are going to hear about the transition from the Vikings in the Scandinavian countries that we've been talking about into Iceland and Greenland, which is really the transition over to American history as we hear about the Native Americans in North and South America and the explorations there. So let's begin our reading today. We're going to hear about a famous Viking, Eric the Red, today. So I'm going to present my screen, and also this is, once again, in Bright Thinker. If you ever want to go back and read through certain parts of it, it's in the history folder on Bright Thinker for you to access whenever you want to. So some of you might know a little bit about this story already, or at least have heard of Eric the Red. So you'll be hearing more about him today. Now, the big question along the side is, why did Eric the Red name the land west of Iceland Greenland? Okay, so we're going to be hearing about both Iceland and Greenland. Why did he name it Iceland? Or why did he name Greenland that way? Now, that evening, everyone gathered together around a roaring fire for an evening of storytelling. Ivar's mother and some other village women had also prepared a wonderful feast. Here's a picture of what it might have looked like as they gathered around for storytelling. Now, long tables had been laid out. They were piled with roasted deer and wild boar, dried whale meat, flatbreads and cheese, and berries and apples. After the feast, Ivar waited patiently for the storytelling to begin. As a hush fell over the group, Toril the Jarl announced, "We welcome Sigurd the storyteller." Ivar and every other child scampered to sit at the feet of the storyteller. Sigurd then spoke in a clear, strong voice. "Tor, the news I bring from Greenland began long ago when you and I were boys. These young people sitting here do not know the beginning of the story as we do. So for them, I will tell the story of, first, Eric the Red. Now, we all know of the land to the west of us called Iceland." I'm going to scroll down for a second to show you the map for those of you who are unfamiliar. Okay, so here is the continent of Europe. Here's Rome and Constantinople that we just learned about. Here are the Scandinavian countries. It's several countries, but as you can see, they're Scandinavia. We are going to be hearing about Iceland. And right there it says Reykjavik, which is what we read about in Journey to the Center of the Earth with the reading group that's doing that. Here is the country of Iceland where that volcano is in the book. And here is Greenland, which is technically part of North America. Here's Canada and the United States down here. Okay, so that's where we're talking about, Iceland and Greenland. So we all know of the land to the west of us called Iceland, he says. Many Viking families have moved there. Some of us have sailed to trade with those who live there. Now, life in Iceland is hard because there is not enough good farmland. Many families there must hunt and fish to stay alive. Eric the Red was born to such a family. When he was but a boy, Eric learned to hunt seals and walrus on the frozen seas north of Iceland. Eric was very brave, but he had a bad temper. Here is the storyteller telling things to the crowd. Now, when he was a young man, Eric killed 2 men. Because he had broken the law, Eric lost his home and he was banished from the country of Iceland for 3 years, his home, because he murdered those 2 people. For a Viking, this was a really harsh punishment. Now, Eric needed a place to live for those 3 years. He had heard stories of a new land to the west of Iceland. So he and some companions sailed off in search of it. Once again, scrolling down here to the map, this was his homeland, did not have much good farmland. As you can see, not only is it far north, so it might be very cold, but also it's very small. But he's traveling west, right? So here's Greenland, much larger, but also further north, very icy, keep in mind. So he and some companions sailed off in search of that land west of Iceland. When Eric found the new land, it was surrounded by ice. He could not explore the area during the winter because the sea around it was frozen. He did not find a good place to live until the summer, when he could explore by ship. So it's so icy he couldn't even get to the land until summertime. Here is Eric the Red. There's his Viking ship, the long ship that we've heard about, right? Now, although the storms were worse than those in Iceland and most of the land was covered with ice, Eric decided to stay. He found some reasonably good farmland. He also hoped others would sail from Iceland to join him. So when 3 years had passed, Eric traveled back to Iceland. He imagined the people there would want to move to a green place, so he told them that the land he found was called Greenland. So there was some reasonably good farmland, but is this a good land to live on? This Greenland? No. In fact, these names should be flipped. Iceland was small, but it had pretty good land. It was very green most of the year, whereas Greenland was mostly ice. So it was used to trick them. He told them it was a green place. Now, Eric returned to Greenland. Traveling with him were 25 ships full of eager adventurers. They left Iceland on a gentle summer wind, but soon terrible storms forced many of the ships to turn back. In the end, only 400 people reached Greenland in 14 ships, about half. Now they settled there with Eric the Red as their leader. They soon discovered that there wasn't that much good farmland in Greenland, and there were no forests for timber, but there were fish, seals, walruses, and whales off the coast. So the settlers hunted and fished. Now those are valuable, fish, seals, walruses, and whales, but you can't get everything you need just by those animals. But they traded seal skins, walrus tusks, and whale bones with other Vikings for what they could not grow or make. Now that I've told you of Eric the Red, Sigurd said, I will tell you what we have learned from Greenland recently. So according to where we're at in the story, this storyteller, Sigurd, he has just gone to Greenland and he's learned something new. So we know Iceland was good land, but not enough of it. Greenland had plenty of land, but it was not good for farming. And it was really icy and difficult to live in. They did have things to trade though. So there's Eric the Red. He tricked them. So whenever you see Greenland, you should think it's Iceland. And Iceland, you should think of it as green land as far as the way you picture it and the way the land actually looks. Let's see, actually, if I can pull up some good pictures of the land itself so you can see the climate of it. Oh, well, here are the northern lights shown because it's that far north. And as you can see here, lots of gorgeous greens and fresh water. Okay, so, and once again, I think I've told you guys this, but the story of A Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is on Epic. It is a classic science fiction novel about people who traveled through the volcano to the center of the Earth, which is impossible. It's just science fiction, but it is set in Iceland, which is a fun connection to what we're doing with with Vikings. Okay, and let's look up Greenland. There it is, very icy. There are people who live right along the coast. There's some ports and it's good for travel. But as you can see, look at this huge icebergs. Oh my goodness. And he said, look, it's great for farming. It's all green. Anyway, so pretty entertaining. We are going to stop there though. Tomorrow you'll be taking some notes on it. And hopefully we'll have time soon to read from Story of the World about Eric the Red, and who we're going to be hearing about next, a man called Leif Erikson. Well, that sounds kind of strange. It sounds like leaf on a tree, but it's spelled differently. That is his name. And Eric's son technically means Eric's son. So, as you might guess, he's Eric the Red Son. So we'll be learning about him soon. That is all for now. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.